Hi there. Real quick before we jump into the episode. If you enjoy this episode or any of the other episodes, be sure to give us a follow or subscribe. It would also be great if you shared it with a friend, or better yet, left a review so others can know how awesome it is. Thanks so much. And now, the episode.
Hey there, Press Starters, and welcome to the Press Start Leadership Podcast, the podcast about game-changing leadership, teaching you how to get the most out of your product and development team and become the leader you were meant to be. Leadership coaching and training for the international game industry professional. Now, let me introduce you to your host, the man, the myth, the legend, Christopher Mifsud.
On this edition, we have another awesome guest, Adam Gerstin of LFG Nexus. Now, let's meet Adam.
Hi, everybody.
Hey, welcome, Adam.
Thank you.
Adam, I know who you are. I'm aware of the greatness that is Adam Gerstin. I am also been following this amazing journey you've been going on with LFG Nexus. But I suppose most of our listeners won't know the story and even know who you are. So please regale us with your origin story. Who is Adam Gerstin?
Sure. I am, a guy. I pretty much grew up in New York until I was about 14 when I moved down here to Georgia and met you and a lot of other people. But kind of a little bit more of the origin story. I was always a gamer. I started, and I'll date myself, started playing on my Atari 2600 when I was like 4 or 5. When we got to probably about 8 or 9, I started playing D&D. Definitely did a lot of gaming, just all throughout my life. I did, a lot of EverQuest and stuff like that. Like in teenage years, 19, I started LARPing, which was definitely the downfall of everything. From there, I've been, just playing all sorts of different games, getting involved in different things on just all sorts of levels when it comes to gaming. Just kind of keep doing the same thing. Was a big fan of World of Warcraft, really got into that pretty heavy. And just trying to now create a way through LFG Nexus. Or basically, LFG Nexus is a social media platform that we're building. Awesome. And our goal is to help connect gamers. So whether you're into esports or LARPing or cosplay, D&D, board games, Magic the Gathering, different types of card games, what we're trying to do is create a community that people can come to and just talking about games, not get involved in all the noise that you see on other platforms. And we're trying to really help people find one another. So for example, since I started LARPing, I would say probably 90% of my friends are LARPers. And the few that aren't are people that I've probably met through LARPers that just, hung out with them. And so that's a little bit more of kind of what we're trying to do. We're trying to, so LFG is from World of Warcraft, looking for game, looking for group. We're trying to take this term and help people find others to play. So again, looking for game, looking for group, looking for guild master, game master, get together. And so it's a little bit more of kind of what we're trying to do with LFG Nexus.
Super cool. Yeah.
We started this journey a little bit over 2 years ago. So we've kind of shifted and adjusted as we've went, but it wasn't until recently or probably like the last year that we've really been focusing on this more of a social media platform. At first, we were looking at it more as a way to run D&D on a more creative level for groups. And having more of a customized D&D journey. And we realized it wasn't really going to work out the way we wanted at the time. However, it looks like there's a lot of other people that are doing it very well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But,
that's cool. But that's how most entrepreneurs' journeys kind of start, right? You set out with one goal, trying to solve one problem. Then you realize, okay, maybe that problem's a little bit harder to solve, or someone else is already solving that problem. So crowded market. So you look elsewhere and you're like, hey, here's something else that needs to be solved. And and that's pretty cool. And I think that's something that resonates with a lot of people. So that's excellent. I want to go back to oh, sorry.
I was just going to say, I recently did a bit of a survey on Google using Google Forms, and I reached out, spent a little bit of money on some Facebook ads, and got a little bit over 100 gamers to respond to the survey. And what we found was that over 60% of people are looking for other people to play games with. That was like one of the biggest things that we gleaned from there. And we asked a lot of questions about what they use social media for and what types of things they would probably want to see on a platform. But to me, the most interesting thing is they were, just people want to play with other people. And,
makes sense.
I thought that was really cool. And it really kind of, works for what we're trying to do.
Yeah.
But
yeah, I know a lot of the chat groups and the groups like for different role playing games on Facebook and stuff that I'm in. That tends to be the big one, right? People looking for people to play with and try out the systems with and everything. So,
right. So
obviously, there has not been a great solution yet. So, everybody, LFG Nexus, there's something there.
Come check it out, guys. Yeah. That's what we're trying to do. We're trying to integrate new features, things that you're not going to see on the Facebooks and Twitters and stuff like that. We're trying to have this catered experience for people based on being a gamer. And I've got a team of people, and obviously I know a good bit of gamers that all have different perspectives, and trying to kind of do everything for everybody. I know that's not necessarily the best way to do it, but we're trying to reach out for the streamers.
You're still in a niche, though. I mean, you're doing it for, like you said before. It's you're creating a platform for gamers, right? And there are a lot of, you can niche down even more if you really wanted to. But I think that's enough. And I think we've discussed this before. Is the Venn diagram, kind of like you said, is like the people is like LARPers, right? And then like other people that aren't LARPers, but you probably met them through your LARPer friends, and chances are they also have similar likes. If it's not LARPing, it's something else, right? So it's video games or whatever, and then the kind of things that they watch, and it goes. You don't want to go too far out, but I think you have enough little small bubbles there that can interact with each other, and that's great. So yeah.
Absolutely, and we're actually trying to also reach out now to kind of like that geek culture, which is now basically mainstream. So kind of like you've got your poster of the child behind you, so to Star Wars, Marvel, DC, Harry Potter, Game of Thrones. There's so many people getting into this, especially because they've been kind of locked down with COVID. That we're trying to reach out to people that could potentially be gamers that are getting into these things.
Yeah, and it grows every market. Yeah, market's growing every year. Yeah.
Yeah, D&D is exploding. There's so much money being thrown at esports. It's ridiculous. And so now is kind of the time to do it.
Sure. Yeah. Better get in there now and, learn fast and pick up all the things that are there. So that's excellent. Excellent. I want to go back. You mentioned your first system was the Atari 2600. Yes. And it was also like my first system as well. So I'm just a little curious. I'm going to ask you some more questions about video games. But this one, what was your favorite game on the 2600 that you remember? I know mine is Atlantis, and we actually had to buy 2 copies of it because we actually burned it out. We played it so much. But
Atlantis,
it was this like little shooter game where it was very similar to. Well, like so basically aliens are coming, space invaders, I guess. But it was like, but the thing is there was like a city above you, right? So you had your little shooter that was shooting the things out of the sky. And then your fail though is if the city got destroyed by the things coming out of the sky or whatever. So that was,
interesting.
Yeah, that was one of my, my favorites on that old system.
Cool. Yeah, no, let's see. I think it was like Keystone Cops.
I know what you're talking about. Yeah, I think it's Keystone. I think it's Keystone Cops, but I know what you're talking about. Yeah, that one's fun too.
Definitely played that a lot. And even silly like Surround, where you like had like this big snake sort of thing. You're trying to like trap your opponents and that sort of thing, and make them kind of go.
Yeah.
And it's crazy because if you think about that sort of a game versus what's out there now, it's like not even comparable, but I guess it's steps.
Yeah, but it's a different design. It's totally different design mechanisms there. I mean, those games were designed to keep going for as long as they could. And basically they were all like off of the arcade, right? So that design was based off of you to keep pumping quarters in. Whereas now, like the entertainment value and the levels of difficulty and everything are very different. But I still appreciate them. I still think there was a lot of fun in those old pixelated games. That's for sure.
Sure. So you know what? Actually, there's something that I forgot to mention. That's kind of relevant. Is for a couple of years I worked at Dave and Buster's, and so I got to do see a lot of video games and stuff like that. I worked on some of the BattleTech simulator there. I helped run that as well as deal cards while they had that available, while it was legal in Georgia. Not that it was literally for money, but even just I guess having like that casino feel. They cut that.
Yeah, but the BattleTech simulator, that thing was way fun. I only played it on the basic level, though. I know there was like the really like you could do the more hardcore simulator where you actually had to like pay attention to all the. I usually died right away, no matter even on the easy mode, so it didn't matter. My friends all ganged up on me.
Yeah.
That was pretty kick ass.
Yeah.
You also mentioned LARPing, which is actually I believe how we met the first time. So yeah. And it's funny because actually I've had a couple guests and we actually talk about LARPing a good bit, and it usually ends up with all of us going like, yeah, LARPing's cool now. It was not cool back then. So because everyone's just like you could play D&D a while back, right? And that was still like nerdy but cool. But even your D&D friends would sometimes be like, you do what?
But it's funny.
But now everyone wants to do it, right?
Exactly. That's the thing. So my daughter just turned 17. And at 12, I got her into D&D. And it was a little bit begrudgingly at first, but now she loves it. She tries to get all her friends into it. In fact, she was trying to, it's just my daughter, she's trying to get me to be okay with this guy, this boy that she wanted to date. And one of her things was, but he plays D&D. And so...
Good on her. You know that's playing. That's smart. Yeah, playing to the. Yeah, of course. Look, he's a fellow nerd. Yeah, and that's cool, right?
Exactly. So the other things, there's obviously the LARPs are starting back up, and she wants to play, and I'm still kind of trying to decide. It's bringing your daughter out to a LARP. So, I mean, you've met some of the LARP guys out there.
Well, yeah, there's that. Oh, okay. Well, there's that. But I was going to bring. It's usually it's tough. I have a lot of our friends, and a lot of my friends have kids now that are old enough to LARP, and they've all been wanting to do it for forever too. Like so, now that they're getting to be the age where like you don't have to play. It's only like certain types of LARPs that allow for younger kids, as long as they're escorted. Like they're totally independent and can do it. Some of them don't want to with their parents just because it's kind of like they're embarrassed by it or whatever, but they still want to try it. So yeah, it's tough.
Yeah.
I'm still amazed my parents let me do it when I was like, start playing when I was 13. So
you started at 13?
I was playing parlor LARPs. Conventions. So they would take me to conventions and then let me run it. Like at Dragon Con, there was like Dark Confrontation. I think I did that for like
I did that once or twice.
Yeah, the coin flip one. I did that for like 4 years, and then they didn't do it 1 year, and then I ended up playing in who ended up becoming a good friend of mine's like World of Darkness salon LARP at Dragon Con, and then I met other people who did those, and then I helped run those, and then my life has been forever tied to LARPing in one shape, form, or another. So yeah,
one of my first experiences, a friend of mine was really into World of Darkness, and we were doing some stuff. And I grew up in Cobb County, and he tried making his own little version. And his father owned a warehouse off of Cobb Parkway, which is a very popular road, and it's very kind of warehouse centric. And so me and some of my friends went and kind of went to do this, and literally it's just 10 or 15 of us. And he put a sign on the side of the road called with an arrow pointing to Club Ragnarok, which is what he was like, kind of making it all about. And a little while later, the police came, and, we were all like 16, 17, and they had their guns drawn, they're behind their cars, they're behind the car doors, like not knowing what's going on. And we're like, uh-oh, like we're just like pretending to be vampires.
Yeah, we had a similar instance of that when I lived in New Orleans, and we were running in a small. We ran a lot of different games there, and we had a small game in a small park. And one time, I think, just because there was just so many of like under 18. I won't say under. Well, I guess it is underage. So yeah, underage kids just hanging out in the in the park, playing rock paper scissors, but dressed up, in trench coats and other nefarious things.
Yeah, that's pretty much what they. I mean, they like had their guns drawn. They made us put our hands against the wall. They frisked us, all sorts of stuff.
Yeah.
Like it was a bit crazy.
Yeah, fun times LARPing. Oh. So on to a different subject entirely, and actually, let's hit on a subject that's more to the core of pillars for Press Start leadership, and the podcast itself is leadership. So I always like to ask my guests, what do you consider good leadership? Tell me a little bit about that.
So I look at leadership in different ways. I've seen, leaders when it comes to like LARPing and, some of these people that just have this natural charisma. Then I also look at leadership in terms of like when you work at like your full-time job and you have a manager and that sort of thing. And so I think there's definitely a lot of different aspects, and they kind of apply differently. But when it comes to leadership, obviously it's incredibly important. I've recently, with the team that I'm working with, it's been great, and I'm definitely learning a lot more about leadership, and I'm definitely, have a lot more to go. But it's definitely one of those things where, you got to, work with people. You got to be flexible. Or at least that's how I feel. That's maybe my style. I know that different people have different styles. That some might rule with an iron fist or something like that.
Well, that would be wrong.
Mm-hmm.
No, it's different. I mean, there's a time and a place, right? Like, I think nobody likes micromanagement, but like, if somebody's super so there are always arguments for anything, right? So I wouldn't run micromanagement or iron fist on everyone, but like, if someone's new and junior to the role and they're not fully aware of what they're doing, sometimes you do need to kind of work with them a little bit closer and over their shoulder, right? But generally, if that's not the case, you hire people for a reason, and let them do their job, right? Like, if you're in a management position or a leadership position, you've got other things to be worrying about. Not always the execution, right? That's what you have other folks for, and you have team members who are knowledgeable. My thing is I feel like a leader doesn't have to know everything; they just have to know where to get the information, right? And so, as long as you know your team and you trust your team, and somebody asks you a question, you can be like, "Yeah, hold on." And the thing is, the better a leader are, the faster you get the answer. Not so much know the answer, just can get the answer because you know your team well enough. So, but you hit on a good point. You got room to learn, but I think all leaders will always be continuously learning. Like, you don't stop learning as a leader. I feel like, I think the wrong answer, bad bosses, and I won't call them leaders. I refer to them as authority figures, who say they don't have anything left to learn or they're too old to learn. It's a horrible answer to hear from someone, because that means like they're pretty much, what that says is, I don't want to change. I'm happy the way I am. And if I'm receiving horrible feedback and I don't want to change, like that should be like your super warning sign to be like, whoa, what? But so I think it's very humbling what you're saying. And I think that's good leadership. Knowing that you have more to learn, realizing that you have a ways to go, and that there's a lot more you can do for your team and so forth. And, treating your team really nicely and kindly, there's nothing wrong with that. That should be like, we should be encouraging that. So don't ever, that's not wrong. I won't say that's wrong at all. I think it's super, super positive, and it's a great way to be. So kudos.
I mean, at the same time, sometimes I feel like I kind of get walked all over, and so it's difficult,
Yeah, kindness with confidence. It's a tough one. It's a tough one, because it's like you have to find that edge, right? But I really think some people think that the only way to get people to do what they want is to be aggressive. And I think you can be firm but kind. And I really do feel like you can, and it does come with experience. It comes with practice. It comes with like failing a couple times, learning from it, and trying a different approach on people because people are all different. But yeah, I get it. I think I like to express myself too because I think I'm a big old teddy bear of kindness. But I also make it very, very clear that if I'm not happy with something, I'm not happy with something. And people realize that very quickly and they go, oh, it's time for not to push this any further than I need to, right? So there's like it's a balancing act that you got to do with people. But 100%, it is tough because it does feel like, oh wait, but if I'm not kind here and I don't let them do what they want, and then you do got it. But yeah, it's being like, hey, I think the key there is people know when they're abusing things and they will test the waters, especially for like new leaders and stuff like that. And it's even worse for friends of friends that are leading teams because if they were always just friends and then suddenly they become like a boss or something, sometimes the friends want to test and see how far they can get away with stuff. And I think that's when you need to call them out and be like, hey, would you do that to somebody else? Or like, do you think this is cool? Is this respectful? And like, when you call people out, they'll get defensive sometimes, but a lot of times they'll be like, oh no, it's not cool. Sorry. It's just, again, they're going to do what they want, cause they see it. Like they're like, ooh.
No, I completely agree. It's, we have a team and, there's pretty much 4 other people I'm working with and, some of them or almost all of them are, just friends I've known for years. And it's difficult, especially the position I'm in where we're not really actually paying people right now. We're still trying to raise money and that sort of thing. So obviously they have to work other jobs and there's priorities and things like that. So that's really, there's so much that's kind of going on there. And so like, you don't want to do hard and then worst comes worst, that could then damage the actual friendship. So
sure.
What I'm starting to realize is like, I just don't want to work with friends. I mean, the friends I'm working with are great, but I think that's probably just the best way to do it.
Sure, it definitely is. It definitely is. And in my career, even I've recommended a lot of friends in the beginning for jobs and stuff and given opportunities, and I'm glad I did because I'm very happy with a lot of those. Occasionally, though, so now as I've learned, I'm very, very selective because when we're working with friends or whatever, or recommending friends for positions, especially if you work at the same company, your reputation is kind of at stake, right? And so, people need to step up if you're gonna endorse them or do things like that. I agree. I probably would still if I ever make my dream studio or whatever, there's still a lot of friends that I would still hire in because I know their talent and their worth in the industry. And I would definitely build my dream team and there would be friends there or whatever. But I think, again, especially this would be a paid, but right now where you're talking about volunteerism, I mean, that's something where you do, I think, have to have consistent conversations with people and make sure that everyone's buy-in is at the same level and correct. And then just check in to see, hey, are you still feeling the same way you were about this, a month ago, 3 months ago, 6 months ago? Has it changed at all? Is there anything we can do better? And I think that's the question, regardless if it's in any kind of job. I like to ask this question whenever I'm working with my teams regularly is, what can we do better, right? And then actually, if it's actionable and not ridiculous, because I've had some ridiculous requests on what could be done better, but if it's actionable, do it. Show that there's actually change and so forth. But yeah, I don't envy you, sir.
So I think what it really kind of comes down to, and what you're saying is, I'm really kind of thinking about stuff as you're talking about it, is just managing expectations.
100%.
So when I first got started with some of my friends, I did have them kind of do a little bit of a survey, like what are you willing to how long are you willing to commit and that sort of thing, in terms of work and stuff like that. And just over the course of the year, aside from COVID, we've had a lot of ups and downs and things that we're doing. We're definitely, moving forward, and things are actually going really well right now. There's a lot of momentum. But, having that conversation can be difficult. And again, because you're working with friends, you're worry about how much it's going to affect things outside of that.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things that I've noticed, and just me personally from my work experience, is that the best boss I had just kind of gave me a little bit of rope and let me go.
Mm-hmm.
And I really think that that's probably the best way that I've, as I think back of some of my old bosses and stuff like that. So
Self-driven teams are awesome. I mean, if you can let your teams do the things that they need to do, and all you're doing is keeping an eye on the horizon and making sure that they're not going to hit any icebergs or anything. And then if you see something coming, again, don't take the reins from them. Just let them know and let them make the right choices on that. So I think, enough rope is to kind of run, but have the ability to pull you back when need be or whatever. I think that's excellent. Yeah. So, cool. All right, another serious question. What's your favorite type of donut?
So I really like the strawberry frosted donuts with sprinkles, or now they don't always use sprinkles, but they use other types of sprinklish type of stuff at Dunkin' Donuts. Dunkin' Donuts.
Dunkin' Donuts is pretty classic.
That's kind of what I grew up on. I know a lot of people here love Krispy Kreme, and it's good, but it's just
classic's good. Classic's good with. I don't do any of the other. I mean, I hear they have specials at Krispy Kreme, special donuts, but I just do the classic one there. Otherwise, if I go for it, I'm a Dunkin' Donuts guy. And this is coming from a guy who hasn't lived in the United States for 10 years. Sure. But when I do go back, I am aware that there are a lot of specialty donut shops in every state. Every state has every single state has a specialty donut shop that has something kick ass going on at it.
There's one by me that someone sent me a dozen donuts. I forgot what it was, but these are not regular donuts. There's weird stuff on top of them. One of them had
wait, you live in Georgia though, right? So you're not one of those states that it's not funny stuff, right? It's not like a Colorado or Oregon or California kind of donut that you get some weird stuff on it.
Well, I'm not sure what they get on them, but this one had a Reese's peanut butter cup and a piece of bacon.
Oh, that's still pretty good. I mean, it's not wheat donuts, but it's pretty good. Okay. Yeah.
So, I mean, I thought that was weird. I mean, they had some pretty eccentric stuff on there. I'm sure that these were not cheap donuts. It was probably $50 for the dozen at least, with some of those things that were on there and different types of ganache and all sorts of stuff.
That sounds like a nice. I would dig on a bacon donut and a peanut butter cup donut.
It was
was it a bacon peanut butter cup donut? Was it combined or
It was Again, it was awesome. Completely weird. I'd never seen it before, and kind of scared me a little bit. But I still ate it, and it was again super full. I
still ate it.
I didn't get into the shape, by not eating.
Hey, rounds the shape. Yeah, that's what
exactly.
Yeah. I was joking with my wife the other day with that one. I didn't think I'd actually pull off that joke because that one, it's kind of a low hanging fruit joke for most people. But I was telling my wife, I've been having a lot of trouble getting into shape, and she's like, "No, that's not true. You're in shape." I was like, "It's true. Round is a shape. I appreciate that. Thanks." And she laughed, but she's not used to all the American humor that I bring. So oldies but goodies I can pull them out and then just slay her with them, and I feel like a comedic genius. So
exactly. Actually, I don't know. I believe there's a mutual friend that we have that he's been going live and eating donuts on his Facebook lives.
That's his thing. That's a thing. Man.
He just started doing it recently.
Okay.
He was doing a lot of hot, spicy food and kind of, he would eat it and give his reaction. But so recently though, he's done a couple of donuts.
All right. I'll have to check.
Maybe something to check into.
Take a look into. Yeah, I mean, I could totally make eating food a gimmick. If that's a thing, I should do that. I don't know. I didn't think about that one. I like food a lot. I mean, I used to be known as the stomach that walks like a man. So that should, that was, I earned that. I had the tiger stripes to prove it. Favorite, man, I'm just thinking about that peanut butter cup bacon donut. So that sounds pretty awesome. Mm-hmm. What about, so besides leadership, mindfulness is something, and we touched on this a little bit when we talked before, and I'm just kind of curious. So, because Yeah, you had an interesting response to me when I brought this up, and so I'm just curious. So, what's your Zen? How do you find mindfulness in these crazy times? And like, where do you find your center? So, what's your answer to my Zen
I
question?
forgot how I answered it before, but like I don't really have a way to do that. I've been trying to
Yeah,
find one.
that was pretty much it was, but it was interesting because you say you have a lot of trouble with finding.
Yeah. I just I've tried to, do the typical kind of meditation thing and kind of like, I'm not sure if I'm doing it right, but kind of sitting there and like crossing my legs and that sort of thing and kind of.
Well, that's the thing. I think people overthink meditation a lot, right? Like they think it has to be something, and it's a whole lot of nothing, really. I mean, that's not true per se. I mean, there's a lot of technique to it, but everyone's like, "Oh, but I can't stop thinking," or like, "I can't clear my mind." And it's actually not about clearing your mind. It's kind of just letting the thoughts come, but then letting them go, and that's the tricky part, right? Is as they come, just letting them go, and that's why like there are all the different techniques that are out there. So like breathing techniques are to help you focus on something that's not the thoughts, right? So the thoughts come, but if you're focused on the breath, then the thoughts go a little bit more. It's also like if you do like physical activities like yoga or Tai Chi or something like that, the movement, yoga is a little bit faster paced. So like that's why like the whole, the dead man's pose at the end when you lay down on your back, a lot of people you get that clarity because your body's exhausted, so your mind's no longer thinking about all the other things, so it's much easier to clear your head and find that empty space. But then there's other tricks like listening to sounds and things like that. They're all just little things there. But don't get down on yourself. Everyone, I hear that all the time when people are like, "Oh, I tried to meditate, it didn't work out for me," or whatever. It's practice.
Sure.
This is practice and get it into it, and just finding the right one for you because there are so many different methods out there, and sometimes some.
I have done a few things. I guess go to like YouTube, and they've got like that ASMR stuff where make different noises, and I feel like some of those work well. Some of those drive me crazy. I guess they call them triggers and things like that.
Yeah.
And actually, that's an issue for me. It's kind of like I feel like my mind is just constantly thinking. Like I just always think about business and stuff like that. And
that's not bad though. I will tell you this too. Like, yes, I agree with you. And the thing is your mind is thinking about the things that are important to you, right? Mm-hmm. And you're trying to control it. And I think that's the problem is the controlling part. Instead of, like I said, let those thoughts come, work it out. Work through it. And then I've had mornings where I do morning meditation. I've had mornings where I'm like, whoop, perfectly in the zone. And then I've had other mornings where I know my work day is going to be busy and there's some problems I need to work out. And I'm doing it during my meditation and answers come a little bit better for me. Maybe not the most relaxing session I ever have, and I'm not walking away from it like energized, but it has a different purpose for it. So,
I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, I think everybody has to just find their own way and in their own time. If it's something but I definitely think some kind of mindfulness practice is handy, even if it's just for 5 minutes a day. Yeah.
Exactly. To be honest, I've seen Tony Robbins a couple of times, and I'm not sure how you feel about me talking about this, but
go for it. I love Tony.
Okay, so I've got one or two of his audiobooks, and I'm just getting into them. And he did something recently here a couple of months or last month where he was like talking to people for without charging them, which is always nice. But a lot of what he talks about is having your mindset and being able to get to this kind of neutral thing. So as you deal with everything that's going on during the day, some stuff's going to make you mad, some happy, whatever, but so that you can basically kind of, snap your fingers and you get back to that neutral place where you can, work and focus and stuff like that. And, just your mindset is really going to be, up to you, but it's going to really push you in the right direction or pull you back. And so, I think what you're saying is absolutely incredibly important. I just haven't found the best way for me to do it.
That's fine. But that even keel is good. I always recommend try like I'm a kind of an extreme personality. And so because of that, I either swing the pendulum very far one way or very far to the other. So for me, what's very important is that I start my day as positively as possible to just not allow negativity to happen, because if I don't do that and something negative happens, in the past especially, would like just spiral me out. And it took a lot of time and practice to kind of get to the point where try and stay neutral as much as possible. But but I think that's great. And I think that speaks volumes, because I don't want to categorize a lot of Tony's customers and stuff, but I think a lot of folks, I've seen a lot of the folks or whatever, and that he talks to or whatever, maybe he just tends to pull those more, but they always seem to have some really messed up lives going on, and usually some big problems that are understandable why they might be angry or upset or disparaged or whatever. So I get where he's coming from, telling people this to kind of bring it to neutral, because it's hard to go all the way. Like, I can do it because that's how I am. Like, I'm an extremist when it comes to that. But I think for a lot of folks, if you can just get them to don't tell them to be positive all the time, because people kind of cringe back when you're like, be positive, screw you, but like, if you tell them like, just be neutral, I think that's good, because I think, that's attainable, and it's good. And when people are able to attain things repeatedly, it becomes practice for them, right? It becomes a habit. And that's what you're trying to go to. And that's why I say like meditation takes practice. And I think when you have certain goals or certain ideals of what meditation should be, and you don't achieve those because it doesn't meet your expectations, that whole setting expectations part we talked about earlier, you get disappointment. And then it's easier to fall back or whatever, right? But that goes for meditation, work relationships, goals you set for yourself and don't meet right away, right? Like we were talking about, donuts and round and everything like that, like when you don't hit those goals, when you step on the that's why he tells people sometimes don't get on a scale daily or whatever, right? Because your body weight fluctuates so much that, as long as you're just staying consistent on the goals that you're trying to do, even when you get a setback, get back on it and doing it. Consistency. That's what's going to get you, trained in new habits, because all habits are just like rituals, right? That you're kind of doing for yourself. So I dig it, but don't give up. Mm-hmm. Keep trying to be mindful. I'm sure it'll come.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I mean, I'm definitely working on it. Like I said, I think that your attitude really just affects so much that's going on.
Mm-hmm.
What you're doing. Just as much as being in shape and physically as well as mentally. Mm-hmm. You got to be, trying to take care of that as much as you can, and that'll just make you, I think, a happier person in general. Just being able to realize what's going on and take it in stride. I think that I personally believe that 90% of kind of what's going on, we react with 90% of like our heart and our mind and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. To the whole 10% that's really going on. We let things affect us too much. And
sure, we're most of the time reactionary beings. I totally get that, and it's a lot of it's instinctual, right? So it's all like psychological and stuff. And I agree. Like for me, I tell people all the time, and like in new situations or things like that, the way I would explain things is, if you come to me and you want my reaction and you want an answer from me right this very second, you're more likely to get a reactionary response than a logical one. But if you give me 24 hours, I can give you a logical response because I'll be given the time or whatever, right? And one of the things that I train a lot of the folks that, I mentor and I coach, don't feel the need to say yes or give an answer if you don't know one. Like tell people like, I don't know, let me get back to you. That's an interesting point or an interesting thought. I need to do more research on that or whatever. Push people off. People like responses. And the thing is people like to give responses. And it's not always good. And chances are you're probably going to disappoint people, especially if you're not correct or you don't know what you're talking about. Or you react in a way because somebody's pushing you for a response out of you that's more like fight than flight or freeze, and then horrible. So I agree with you. I do believe that most people are in the moment thinking more like mind and well, not mind, like not mental, but heart and passion, kind of thing. So yeah, 100%.
Absolutely.
What's your favorite game system? So you tabletop wise, what are you playing? What are you loving these days?
For playing games, for non-video games, definitely still really big into 5th edition D&D. I've just been playing one game for a long time that's about to restart, and super excited about that. It's like a super high level game. And I've been also playing in another game where we've started out doing like Dungeon of the Mad Mage Waterdeep, and then Dungeon of the Mad Mage a little bit, and then now it's kind of grown into Out of the Abyss. And we've been doing it, with D&D Beyond and Roll20 and Zoom, and it's been working out pretty well. Definitely have a lot of fun with it.
Nice.
When it comes to like non-video games, still playing a bit of World of Warcraft and Overwatch.
Okay.
But
what are you playing in Overwatch? Out of curiosity, I haven't touched it in a while. Sure. But I do like me some Overwatch, so I'm just curious. What's your favorite character to play or type? Yeah.
Sure. So I like Ash, the
girl, the cowboy shotgun, and the robot Bob or whatever.
Yeah,
is it Bob.
Yep, it's Bob.
Bob.
So she's really neat. She's got a couple of different things. She's still definitely like more DPS based. She's kind of a sniper a little bit, but at the same time can still do a good bit of damage. And so she's fun. I also like Soldier 76.
Classic.
He's he's definitely got a good bit of support, where he can, drop the thing.
Heal. Yeah.
He's got the rocket. He's got, just fully automatic, that sort of thing. So those are probably the two DPS ones that I like.
Mm-hmm.
When it comes to healing, I like Bridget. She's
she's fun.
With the shield and like the Morningstar stuff like that. And she's pretty neat. Definitely like her. She only does so much healing, but she's just,
she used to be able to really get it rolling on, and then they nerfed her a couple times, and that's why I don't even know what the state is, because I hadn't been playing enough, and I just remember logging on and being like, oh, how they nerfed my favorite character today, and then but she was a lot of fun. She's just cool. I had a lot of skins for her that I really enjoyed. They were good.
Yeah, so I've gotten a bunch of skins for her. When I play her, again, it's not super often because I'm more kind of like doing a little bit more of the DPS stuff, but
sure.
I'm trying to get good at the other healer. It's like the robot guy that kind of just like hovers and he like
Zenyatta.
Yeah, like he's got a really awesome Mind Flare skin.
I have that one.
Dude,
from the Halloween like 3 years ago, 2 years ago. It was a while back, and then I got that one right away. And they actually changed his voice file is even different.
Nice
on that.
So like, I'm going after that, but again, I'm only okay with it.
Yeah, he's good fun. He's like a sniper healer, so good fun. Yeah.
Exactly.
Like me some Zenyatta.
Those are the four that I kind of get into. My daughter really gets into the lore behind it as well.
It's cool stuff. Mm-hmm. Yeah, she excited about the Overwatch 2?
I think she's only
looking a
little bit. Yeah. She definitely likes getting in there and kind of trying to lead teams and stuff like that. Tell them what to do. My daughter's also an ROTC, so she probably has a lot more to say about leadership than I do.
That's fine.
But yeah.
Well, you play that on PC, yeah?
Yeah, definitely. PC Master Race. To be honest, like I have an Xbox that we haven't used in years. I would play like Disney Infinity with her, and that was fun. So we did, some of Star Wars, Marvel stuff, and she probably reads more comic books than I do. But it's been sitting there for like years. Just my Xbox.
But mine's sitting over there, but it gets used. So but that's just because I'm moving a lot, and moving around a giant good PC is just a pain in the butt. So it's a little bit easier I can throw an Xbox in my suitcase actually. Takes up most of my suitcase, but I can still throw it in the suitcase. So, it comes from all the countries I moved to. So What's so what? So let's step back to the LFG Nexus a little bit more. What would you, as an entrepreneur, what has been like the would you say the biggest challenge so far with with it? I mean, I know you've shifted gears, you kind of changed direction you're going with. You know, you're working with friends, and it's a lot of volunteer work and stuff, and just people. It's a passion project, but at the same time, there are clear goals, and you have been, you know, achieving a lot of stuff, especially in like the last 6 months. A lot of things have been rolling, you know. But yeah, what would you say? Talk to the entrepreneurs out there, like what you know, so something maybe they can resonate with as well.
Well, I mean, you know, I'm a huge fan of entrepreneurship, of people kind of taking that risk and kind of going out there on their own. I think that's a great thing to do. I mean, you know, definitely be careful with what you're doing, and try and be reasonable and have, you know, rational expectations. But you know, I really enjoy it. I've kind of run a few of my own small little businesses, not just LFG Nexus, but for example, I actually do like social media and basically digital marketing, like SEO, like as a living. So I've always kind of done that on the side to my regular job. So I've been able to like talk to like, you know, some C-level people at different companies to get them onto what I was doing. As for LFG Nexus, you know, that's been really interesting because, you know, we're basically building a tech company and a giant social media platform, and it's not cheap. You know, obviously there's a lot of money. I am not a developer, so I've kind of, you know, gets one to do
Always
it.
tricky. Yeah. Then you got to rely on other folks and hope that they understand and can deliver on your vision, right? Yeah.
So that's been the biggest thing, is that we've hired about 4 different developers, and a lot of the people that we've been going through, they're younger people, and they get tired of doing something for a little while, and they just kind of disappear, and they just kind of ghost you for a little bit. So basically, over the past year, we've had about 4 different developers, and in general, if you put all their work together, I mean, we're at a pretty good place. Mm-hmm. But you know, we've gotten fairly lucky to be able to do so. And to be honest, the platform that we're using is a PHP platform, and so it's really kind of difficult finding the right people that can do the coding that we're looking for. I mean, PHP is definitely out there, but for the level, because most of the platform is written in PHP. It's difficult. As for, we're actually about to transition, and I think you might have gotten an email about this, from our current platform to a newer platform that we think is a little bit aesthetically more pleasing. It's going to give us more functionality of things that we can do. And, you know, on the investor side, there's potentially a lot more streams of revenue. Because we are, you know, looking for investments if anyone's interested.
Yeah, let's talk about. I mean, first I want to point out that I did get that email, and I did get a little glimpse. And I know you're like, oh, that's still a work in progress or whatever, but it definitely looks really, really cool. So I'm excited for everyone who gets to see that soon, because it's definitely a great direction, and I think you guys are hitting something really, really, really solid there. But yeah, I know you guys are doing like. I wasn't 100% familiar with this platform until you told me about it, but so maybe you can explain a little bit about the investment platform you're using, and then like how people can get into this, because this is kind of a cool situation that not a lot of people, you know, who aren't like, you know, hedge fund managers or whatever can get into, you know, investing in.
Sure. So we're using a platform. It's called WeFunder. WeFunder is a crowd-based, you know, platform where basically people can offer parts of their company for an investment. What we're currently doing is we're offering like a convertible note where basically whatever investment you make will give like 6% interest over the next 3 years, and then at which point we'll be able to decide if we want to, or if you want to use the money to then purchase stock in the company, or to, you know, just take your money and leave. You know, it's kind of up to you. Basically, the benefit of what's going on is that if you want to invest right now, most people, to be what's called an accredited investor, you have to have $1 million free to play with, and you have to have made $250,000 for the last 3 years. And then you have to go through this whole process, and that's how you become accredited investor. And these are the types of people that get to invest into all the different things that you see out there. Not everybody, obviously, that's a steep hill for people to climb, $250K a year and $1 million liquid to become an investor.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, obviously,
your average person's not doing that,
Exactly. I don't really want to get too much into politics, but you say the rich get richer. Well, it's kind of what you're saying here. What we're doing with WeFunders, it lets people get into these types of companies at that same level with a much smaller investment. And it gives them opportunities to kind of get started. So nice. with the platform that we're on, the minimum that it takes to get in is $100. So, if you don't have Starbucks a couple times a week, you can get in. Like I said, it's not something that's a quick flip sort of thing.
No, 3 years, but vested. But to be honest, it's not too dissimilar to like what a lot of folks have to like who are in tech and work for some of these bigger companies, and they get their stocks or their matching stocks or whatever, but they have to get vested into the company a number of years in order to actually get those back. So it's not too dissimilar, and I think it's probably good for folks to kind of get used to understanding that a little bit better, because I sure as hell didn't know that when I was younger.
Right. And me neither. So, I'm still learning. Yeah. So I mean, I've got another guy that's pretty much my CFO or financial guy, and I'm definitely learning as I'm going. Unfortunately, that's my own issues. I wish they would have taught that earlier, and I'm definitely trying to teach my daughter how those things start to work. But so the thing is that people can get in, they can invest as little as $100. They can go to the moon. We're looking for a little bit over $500,000, and from there we believe that we can do some amazing stuff with making over 1.2 million in the first year. And that's only with 2 of our streams of revenue. We actually have several others.
Sure.
And then over 5 million in the first 3 years. But those are very, very conservative numbers that we're looking at. Again, we're here to bring people to each other. We're here about creating relationships. So we have the thing where we can actually embed your Twitch stream. So we can help you brand and find more people. We have the whole looking for group. So you can find other people to play your favorite games with, whether it's LARPing or creating a guild in World of Warcraft or even, some of the other first person shooters. If you want to do cosplay and get your name out there, we're here for everybody. We really want to help people succeed. One of the first things you do when you get on the platform is we do ask you, what are your interests? And this way we can show you the stuff that you want to see without trying to dig and harvest information. We're just going to flat out ask you. It's this weird concept, but what would you like to see? What are you into? And then this way we can try and, have those things cater to you. We also have another thing on there. It's called, it's our map of events. So anything that's going on in a local area, different businesses can create events for. So you want to see what's going on with the LARPs in your area? Cool. We're going to have a little section. You'll see a little pin mark on a Google map that'll basically show you where, when LARPs are having events. If you want to see what's going on at the local game store, awesome. They might say, oh, there's a Magic tournament or 40K tournament, that sort of thing. Conventions, concerts. There's, we're trying to create this whole thing so that you can look and find other people in your area that have similar interests as you. Obviously, with COVID, it's a little, iffy. Especially
for LARPing and stuff. But I mean, like you were talking about before, there's so many platforms that allow for online interaction, and that's kind of why they've boomed a little bit, I think, because everyone's trapped inside and they needed to find, suddenly, all these new subscribers and people that want to, tabletop or interact with their friends and stuff like that online.
Absolutely.
Like you said, esports and Twitch streaming is jumped a good bit this year. Actually, all video games have done really well this year because of the people have, again, still have disposable income, some level. I mean, many people were affected, financially, but
sure,
there was a large number of folks who weren't per se or able to work from home and so forth. So they still have money that they want to spend, and sadly, they weren't probably saving and investing like they probably maybe should have in a time of crisis. But so they're finding ways to spend that money. And what's interesting is the predictions on this are that when people get back to quote unquote normal, their spending habits, like, so the fear is that they would stop spending on these things. But actually, now that they've, again, it's all about doing things over and over again and kind of gotten used to doing these things. They may not stop spending as much as they were on like video games or other things or whatever. They might, but it's still not going to be as large of a drop all of a sudden. It's not like maybe a little bit of a decrease as they go back to doing the normal things that they do. But people have gotten into the habit of getting used to a lot of this stuff. And there's some people that are even more comfortable or realizing that, like, hey, I don't actually like interacting with people on the regular. And if I can use this, found a new way to kind of socialize and do things and get away. So a lot of big opportunities. I think your LFG Nexus is one of those. So get on it.
Exactly. I mean, I'm waiting on my developers.
Well, not you. I'm not telling you to get on. I'm telling the listeners and those who are watching. That
yes, please
get in on the LFG Nexus.
Sure, if you guys actually,
which will help them get their developers get in on it.
If you guys want to see the current, again, we're shifting our platform. As I mentioned, we have the PHP version. We're now actually moving to this new one that's going to be a little bit more aesthetically pleasing. I mean, not that I think the older one was bad.
No, the other one was fine too. I liked it too.
It definitely looked like Facebook.
Yeah. But that's practical and a lot. And to be honest, lots of the other social platforms when they first got starting out, they all kind of took similar dynamics and looks to them because people are used to it, right? Like,
exactly.
But yeah, let's go on to saying basically, like, where can people find more Adam Gerstin and LFG Nexus? Like, if people are on the interwebs and the social medias that aren't LFG Nexus, how do they find LFG Nexus and get involved in some of this? Tell me all about it. And so, you'll find it in the notes as well for the episode. But
cool.
But let's hear from Adam.
You can just go to lfgnexus.com. Right now, again, that's where you can log in and get access to our beta. Please check it out. There's some videos in there. There's a lot of stuff that you can do that people just aren't finding. And so I've made some videos for it. So please, kind of take a little bit more than a 5-minute look. I think you'll kind of be impressed. And it'll give you like a lot of opportunities to potentially meet more people or to create groups for your friends of games. There's blogs that you can create. There's just so much stuff going on. But if you go to just, again, www.lfgnexus.com, currently that's what we would call the alpha version. Now soon we'll probably shift over the beta version that was talking about, the little bit more aesthetically pleasing one. Once more of the functionality is added, that's equivalent to what the alpha had. You can also find us on Facebook. That's where we do a lot of our posting. And that's just, facebook.com/LFG Nexus. I tend to post a lot about just what's going on in the gaming and kind of geek culture industry, so it might be some new stuff. It might be like, here's some new movies that are coming out and here's like the trailers. It could be, a funny meme from the Avengers or Star Wars or things like that. Maybe even a little bit of some of the business stuff like, Microsoft's looking at buying Discord. I'm also probably going to look at starting to stream a little bit more, kind of like how Chris is with platforms similar. So we're definitely trying to get a lot of information out there, cool. And just share some of the gaming goodness and let you guys enjoy. Kind of help find some of the stuff that we think is neat.
Yeah. What if they wanted to invest? Where would they find that? Is that off on the LFG Nexus website? No, it's where would they find that info? That
is if you go to WeFunder. Again, it's just WE and then funder.com. Then it's a / and then it's, so this is a little difficult. It's a LFG _Nexus and then the number 2.
That'll 100% be in the liner notes because I don't expect anybody to remember that one. So no worries, folks.
Exactly. So
we'll have the links. We'll have the links in the notes for everybody so they can check it all out and get in on some of that sweet action.
Exactly. Something to think about is just kind of everything that people have been talking about and saw in terms of the GameStop stuff and with the market and Robinhood and how, people are shorting stuff and things like that. If this is something, investing something you're starting to look into, please definitely check us out. It might not necessarily be the right thing for you, and that's okay. If you know others that are, into gaming, that sort of thing, that want to get in. I mean, our hope is that, I don't think we'll be quite as big as Facebook, but we're kind of looking at LinkedIn, which is more of a specialty niche platform. LinkedIn.
I spent a lot of time there. Yeah.
They sold for like 26 billion like 5 years ago.
Yeah.
I mean, if we come close to that, I'd be okay.
Sure. I would be too. I understand.
But again, aside from the money, it's again important for us to help people connect. Just have a place where they can chat about stuff without getting all the noise and that sort of thing.
Cool. Good message. All right. Anything else you'd like to plug before we let you go for the day?
I really think that's kind of all that's going on. But I want to
that's a lot, though. That's a lot. Yeah.
It's been great chatting with you. Definitely gained some more insight in terms of leadership. Trying to figure out how again it's just different situations for different people. But
yeah. Well, excellent. Thank you so much, Adam, for joining us and telling us about LFG Nexus. And hopefully we'll have you back on in the near future when, maybe you're in the next steps and everything's rocking, and you can do a follow-up story on what's new with LFG Nexus and how it's a banger hit. So I look forward to that.
We'd also love to get you a page on there as well. Help you reach more people.
Yeah. I've got the startings of one. I need to finish it out. So that's on me. It's there. You can actually find Press Start Leadership on LFG Nexus if you're looking for it really hard. So not really that hard. You just put Press Start Leadership in there and you find it. So yeah.
So there is actually one more thing I did want to say.
Okay. Yeah.
Again, if you if you own some sort of business related to gaming or even kind of close, and you want to find out more about how we can work with you, how we can try and help get you a larger reach, because what we're trying to do is we're trying to again target really just gamers. So if you are running ads for your game or have thought about it, whether you're a game developer or you're a LARP owner or something like that,
gamer adjacent in some kind of way, form of business. Yes,
exactly. Then we can try and help you to get on the platform, get things set up, because your target audience is literally going to be right there on the platform. You don't have to worry about getting someone to run Facebook ads for you and taking out different types of audiences and putting in this audience. It's literally everybody on there is probably going to be at least some sort of target for your audience.
That's awesome. That's great. And I think that speaks volumes of, that's the audience. You're catering to that audience. You're serving the needs of that audience and the businesses that support that audience. So
awesome.
Great idea. I think it's going to be, like I said, incredible. So I look forward to continuing to follow the journey and the ultimate success of LFG Nexus. So,
thank you. And, I look forward to watching your success as well.
We'll see where that goes.
Mm-hmm.
It'll be fun. Hopefully more of these, as I like talking with people. So that's what I'm enjoying so far. So,
awesome.
All right. Have a great one. Cheers.
You too. Take care.
Thanks. That's this week's episode of Press Start Leadership Podcast. Thanks for tuning in. And as always, thanks for being awesome. Give us a follow, a like, a share, and even a review if you feel like it. We'd really appreciate it. Cheers. If you haven't downloaded my free ebook, 5 Heroic Leadership Skills, click on the link in the description. Tune in next week for your next episode of Press Start Leadership Podcast. Thank you. Oh, hi there. The episode's over, but thanks for sticking around till the end. If you're on the quest to elevate your team's leadership, production, or game design capabilities, I'm here to assist. Leveraging extensive experience and a strategic approach, I offer personalized audits, bespoke workshops, and leadership retreat facilitation to drive your team toward excellence. My commitment is to provide efficient, reliable, and proven support, ensuring you have the tools and insights needed to thrive. Ready to unlock your team's full potential and achieve unparalleled success? Don't hesitate to press start on your journey to transformation today. Feel free to reach out directly to discuss how we can tailor a solution to meet your unique needs and goals. Let's connect and take your team's performance to the next level.